What is up, everybody? Just Joji back here with finally another video. I know I haven't posted in a while. I'm super sorry for that. Not like there's a lot of people watching anyways, but the holidays have been super crazy and it's just been, yeah, incredibly crazy. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into another video where we're gonna talk about our net worth. And what better time than the end of the year? Today is December 29th. I want to look at every single dollar that we attribute to our net worth for 2020. Now, for those of you who didn't know, Maya and I are both 26-year-old teachers. I'm a high school teacher. She's an elementary school teacher. And we also have some other side hustle things like merch by Amazon, fulfillment by Amazon, teachers pay teachers. She does other things like Instagram and blog and things like that. And so we aren't just teachers, but that is our main job. Keep that in mind. We're 26-year-old teachers with some side hustles, and this is what our net worth is at the end of 2020. This very much is also a FIRE update, meaning a financial independence retire early update, because both Maya and I are on this path to FIRE, where we want to get to the point where investments reach a point that we can live off the gains of our investments and would no longer need to work if we didn't want to. So let's get right into our 2019 net worth. At the end of 2019, Maya and I had a combined net worth around $260,000, which still blows my mind how crazy that number is, because that's $250,000. That's a lot of money, and we didn't really do anything that fancy. We just lived way below our means, saved a lot of money, and invested it. So with that said, let's see how much our net worth increased in the year 2020. What I want to show you is a breakdown of where all our money exists. Those are going to be things like certain retirement accounts, taxable accounts, as well as like what kind of brokerages we use to invest our money, and things like our checking account and our savings account. So let's get started. So my net worth for the year 2020 actually increased by almost $50,000, which is pretty awesome. Keep in mind that for the first 8 months of this year, I was living completely by myself. I was paying $1,500 in rent, and I was spending approximately $2,500 every single month just on my own expenses. But here's going to be the breakdown of where all my money exists. You can see that the first and most important account that I have is the Roth IRA. Essentially, a Roth IRA is a post-tax retirement account. And since the money in that account has already been taxed, all the investment gains are going to grow tax-free, which means in the future, when I decide to start withdrawing my money, I won't actually be taxed on any of my contributions or any of the investment gains, which makes it just a super awesome retirement account. Now, some really cool things about the Roth IRA is that you can actually withdraw your contributions if they're at least 5 years old and pay absolutely no penalty, which is awesome because for most retirement accounts, if you withdraw before a certain age, usually around like 55 or 59 and a half, then you get charged a percentage penalty fee, like a 10% penalty fee. So what's super awesome about the Roth IRA is you can actually extract or withdraw your money that you contributed, not the investment gains, but just the money that you contributed, as long as it's at least 5 years old. So you can see in this account I have about $28,000, which is up about $10,000 from the previous year. Now, you can only invest about $6,000 in a Roth IRA every single year at this point, which means that the other $4,000 in gains were just investment gains. You can see that all of my money in the Roth IRA is invested in VTSAX, or Vanguard's Total Stock Market Index Fund, which essentially is just a collection of all the US companies. And what I'm trying to do here is just invest in the entire US economy. The second retirement account that I invest is in a 457B with Empower Retirement. This is the employee-sponsored retirement program. Now, because my 457B doesn't actually have VTSAX as an option, I have to invest in what is closest to it. You can see that as of today, I have around $35,000 in that account, which is up a little over $20,000 this year. And it's up that much because I contributed $19,500 into my 457B this year. The reason why 457B retirement accounts are just insane is because you can actually withdraw your contributions and your investment gains penalty-free before the age of 59 and a half, so long as you sever ties with your employer. Which means that if Maya and I at some point in the near future would like to retire early, what we're both gonna end up doing is severing ties with our employer, which means resigning or quitting from our jobs. And at that point, we now have access to that money penalty-free. We still need to pay taxes on it once we withdraw from that account, but that's fine because money going into that account has not yet been taxed because the 457B is actually a pre-tax retirement account. All right, the next investment account on my list is a taxable account, which is also through Vanguard. And you can see that I have approximately $52,000 in a taxable account. This is money that's already been taxed that I'm now investing. And essentially any of these investment gains are going to be taxed. The contributions won't ever be taxed again because contributions have already been taxed, but This is a sort of account where there are absolutely no tax benefits, meaning there aren't any tax advantages of this account because the money that was put in was already taxed. And the investment gains of the account are also going to be taxed. So taxable accounts are by far accounts that you should probably give the least priority, especially if you have other options like the Roth IRA or a 403b or 457, 401k, whatever it is that you have. My last taxable account is through Betterment. It's a robo-advisor. And this was my first experience investing at all. And I just put a small amount of money in there and just added a little bit at a time. And now this is up to about $3,700. The last is to get into my checking account, which currently have about $6,000. If you combine all those funds, you'll see that my net worth as of 2020 is around $126,000. Almost a $50,000 increase in my net worth in the year 2020, which from my perspective is pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with it, especially considering that I was living on my own for the first 8 months of the year. All right, now let's get into Maya's net worth. You'll see that we both are invested in very similar things, and that's just because we both have very similar investment philosophies, which is just to invest money in index funds that try to track the market. Starting off with her Roth IRA, she has about $17,000, also just invested in VTSAX, Vanguard's Total Stock Market Index Fund. She also has a 457B with a little over $41,000. Again, invested in BlackRock Equity Fund R. She has a very baby 403b with just $39, and I think we just wanted to open the account, and so she just put a couple of dollars in there, and so it's at $39. Now here's a huge one. She has a taxable account with over $160,000, which is just absolutely insane. She's been working since she was really young. I want to say like freshman year of high school. She was doing a whole bunch of things, like she was tutoring, commissioned art, she was working at a paintball park, she was doing a whole bunch of just awesome, crazy things. She just never really was a spender. She just saved all of her money. And so all this money in the taxable account is essentially money that she saved growing up, and also any of the leftover money that kind of flowed over already maxing out things like her Roth IRA, her 457, and things like that. She also has a very sizable $25,000 chunk in savings and currently sitting around $7,000 in her checking account. All of that brings her to a total of $250,000 or $250,000, which is just absolutely insane to me. For her, she increased her net worth by over $70,000, which again is just incredible. Now that we've gone over all of our assets like our retirement accounts, our checking accounts, our taxable accounts, savings account, and all of that, now we should look at what our actual liabilities are, because your net worth is really just going to be your asset or things that generate money or make money for you, subtracted from all of your liabilities or things that actually take money away from you every month. Now for most people, liabilities would be things like having a mortgage payment or owning a house, having a car payment, having student loans, having credit card debt, things like that. Luckily for us, we actually do not have any liabilities currently. Don't own a house, meaning we don't have a mortgage. Neither of us have any car payments because we both own our cars outright. Neither of us have student loan debt. I was fortunate enough to receive quite a bit of financial aid, also scholarships, as well as work my way through college to pay off any debt that I had remaining when I did graduate from college. Very, very fortunately for us, Maya's parents were in the position that they could pay for her college. Obviously was amazing and super helpful. And lastly, neither of us have any credit card debt, which means that our total liabilities are $0. We don't have any liabilities, meaning that we have zero debt. There's nothing that we have to pay back. The closest thing that would come to a liability is paying for rent, because that is money that's coming out of our pocket every month as an expense, but we don't have any of those traditional liabilities that continually suck money from your account, make it super, super hard for you to actually save money and therefore invest money. So if you add up both Maya's net worth and my net worth, you can see that we come to a new total for the year 2020 of just over $380,000. At the end of 2019, we were about $260,000, which means we increased our net worth by $120,000 this year, which now that I say it is just insane. I look forward to doing this video again next year in 2021, at the end of 2021, to see exactly where we're at. Very soon, I'm going to come out with a new video that goes over how much money we plan to save and invest in 2021. And it's going to be interesting to see exactly how much we can actually save and invest, and to see how much our portfolio grows. So there you have it, our 2020 net worth. Both Maya and I are two 26-year-old teachers with the hope of reaching financial independence, retire early sometime in our late 30s. I think we're off to a good start. So if you enjoy this content and you'd like to see more, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button and consider subscribing. Also, before you leave, if you found anything interesting about the video or anything that we talked about, or you're curious or interested or just have questions about anything, feel free to put anything down in the comment section. I'd love to read it and also respond to it. But that's all I have for you today, so thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye!